Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. Tonight we're talking about calendar, and specifically, we're wondering if you're putting your travel time on your calendar. Let's dive into the calendar and figure out why we're going to do this and how we're going to do it. So, on my calendar here, you'll see that I do have a hearing on a motion to dismiss, and that is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Now, if you look at that event, I specifically put in not only the courthouse that I'm going to, but also the exact location of that courthouse. Now, I have been to the Cook County Courthouse more times than I can count, and it's not that I don't know how to get there. It's more that when I get into the car, I want to be able to click on that address, have it automatically open up on my Maps app, and then be able to know, in my case with Google Maps, be able to know when I'm going to arrive there. That way, if it does end up that I'm going to be late, or better yet, I can press it before I get into the car to make sure I get into the car on time. But if it turns out that I'm going to be late for some reason, then I can go ahead and take those steps and have my assistant call the judge's clerk or something like that in order to let everyone know that I am going to be late. So that's why I put the address in here every time. Again, even though I know where the courthouse is, and better yet, have a team member do that when they do schedule that court appearance. So I've got that on my calendar. I've got the address. I've got the time. I prefer to always put my court calls on the actual time of the call. So it's 9 o'clock. That's when the court hearing starts, or when I need to be there for that start. And so I do start that at 9 on the calendar. Now, I also want to make sure that I arrive there on time, though, of course. So I'm going to go to the calendar and actually put in the travel time as an event on the calendar. Now, in my case, if I'm actually driving to Cook County at that time of day, it will take me about an hour and a half. But we're going to pretend like we're closer to Cook County, and I'm going to go over here and add an appointment right here that has travel time. Okay. So I'll go ahead and stick that travel time on, let's say from 8:30 to 9, right? And that's going to remind me that I do need to get in the car early enough in order to get there. Now, additionally, I want to put travel time to get back. Now, I always estimate my travel time from and to the office. And so, of course, if that needs to be adjusted because you're leaving from your house or something like that, then we can adjust for that. But then I'll come back over here. If I believe it's going to take approximately an hour for this hearing, then I'm going to come over here and also put some travel time to return back to the office from 10 to 10:30, right? And so in doing this, I'm trying to set myself up for success, right? Because if I neglected to put in this travel time, if I'm using a scheduling tool like Calendly or Clio Scheduler, it very well could schedule something immediately after that hearing, in which case now I'm stuck doing this call or Zoom call or phone call or whatever it is from the courthouse, possibly because I didn't have that travel time accounted for. Or worse yet, if they're coming into the office in person, I won't be there yet, right? I won't have made it back. And so I do prefer to break that up into 3 separate appointments, because now when I go into bill, I'm going to bill for this appointment on the Smith file, right? But if I had 3 different, 4 different, 6 different, depending on the courthouse in Cook County, you could have 20 different cases up on the same call, then I would list them all out here separately so that I could go in and bill and track my time for them. But I might put my travel time as an administrative matter, right? Because I'm not necessarily going to bill that to all 20 of those cases. Now, alternatively, if I am billing my travel time to a particular matter, then I would come into the travel time event and I would put that matter in here as well. So I do, oops, wrong place. My apologies. I do want to track that. I do want to track that all separately. For some of you, you may be charging different rates for travel time versus court appearances, things like that. And this makes that a lot easier. It also makes it a lot easier, by the way, for some administrative help to come behind me. Maybe it's my paralegal, maybe it's my assistant, maybe it's a clerk, somebody to come behind and be able to track this time for me and be able to put these time entries on the calendar, knowing exactly what I did. And so I will go, by the way, behind myself and adjust these times if they end up not being accurate at that point. So Please do consider putting in some type of travel time into your calendar. I think that we're really setting ourselves up for failure if we're not accounting for that time or if we're not very clear when we're accounting for that time. And when you put together a calendar policy, I would highly recommend that you come up with some rules where, if it's in this courthouse, then here's how much travel time, or if it's in this area, here's how much travel time. That will make it a lot easier for your team to be able to estimate that and put that on the calendar when they schedule, and not have to go ahead and guess. Now, again, if you're using some type of scheduling tool, you can also build that travel time in with a buffer. And we'll have to make some more videos about that because I think there's some really interesting things we can do with those buffers as well. So thank you for joining me tonight. Please do let me know how this works for you. If you've used travel time on your calendar before, or if you're new and going to give it a try now, I'd love to see how that works out for you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Have a great evening.